My child, there is a reason you feel disturbed every time you consider going back. Back to the old habit, back to the old conversation, back to the old coping pattern, back to the old version of yourself that knew how to survive, but did not know how to live in peace. That disturbance is not confusion, it is warning. You have asked me for freedom, healing, direction, and renewal. But when the discomfort of growth rises, part of you still looks behind. Part of you still imagines that the old place might feel easier. Part of you still wonders whether returning would reduce the pressure of becoming someone new. Listen carefully. Do not go back to what I already brought you out of. Leaving is not the hardest part for most people. Staying gone is. Many can walk away in a moment of clarity. Fewer can remain free when loneliness returns, when fear rises, when the future feels slow, and when the old life begins rewriting its own memory to look safer than it actually was. That is what old bondage often does. It edits history. It makes toxic patterns look comforting. It makes exhausted seasons look simpler than they really were. It makes destructive attachments appear warm when they were actually draining, confusing, and expensive. Do not trust a memory that has been polished by desperation. You left for a reason. You cried for a reason. You felt trapped for a reason. You lost peace for a reason. You asked me to help you get out for a reason. Do not dishonor the truth you fought so hard to see just because the next chapter has not settled yet. The wilderness between old bondage and new stability can feel vulnerable. You are not where you used to be, but you are not yet fully standing inside what is next. And in that middle place, the old life can start sending invitations. Sometimes obvious invitations, sometimes subtle ones. A thought, a memory, a message, a fantasy, a rationalization, a lonely night, a tired decision. That is why discernment matters now. Not every open door is from me. Not every familiar voice deserves access. Not every emotional craving deserves agreement. Not every ache should be obeyed. Some feelings need to be heard. Others need to be challenged. Wisdom knows the difference. My child, you are not being cruel by refusing what once harmed you. You are not being selfish by protecting what I healed. You are not being dramatic by taking your peace seriously. You are not overreacting by resisting patterns that once unraveled you from the inside. Too many people betray their own healing because they want to be seen as nice, flexible, available, understanding, forgiving, easy, and unbothered. But healing requires truth. And truth sometimes says no without apology. Truth sometimes closes the gate. Truth sometimes declines the invitation. Truth sometimes leaves the old thing unanswered so the new thing can stay healthy. You do not have to hate the past to stop returning to it. You only need enough honesty to admit that it cannot carry where you are going. That is maturity. Not pretending it never mattered. Not pretending it never hurt. Not pretending you are above the struggle. Maturity says, it may still pull at me, but I know what it costs. The old thing always tries to hide its cost. It shows you the familiarity. It does not show you the emotional crash after. It shows you the temporary relief. It does not show you the confusion that follows. It shows you the warmth of recognition. It does not show you the shrinking, the compromise, the self-betrayal, the exhaustion, and the loss of peace that always return with it. I want you to start looking at patterns through their full cost. not just their immediate comfort. Comfort is not the only question. What does it produce? What does it weaken? What does it train in you? What does it normalize? What does it ask your nervous system to carry? What does it do to your clarity when the moment passes? Those questions protect freedom, because freedom is not preserved by emotion alone. It is preserved by remembering clearly. It is preserved by honoring what truth already revealed. It is preserved by refusing to negotiate with what you already know drains life from you. Sometimes you think you are missing the old thing, but often what you are really missing is certainty, predictability, the familiar script, the part of you that knew how to function in that environment, even if it was slowly harming you. Do not confuse familiarity with safety. You adapted to things that were hurting you. That adaptation does not make them healthy. It only means you became skilled at surviving in a place that was beneath your peace. I am not calling you back to survival. I am calling you forward into wholeness. Wholeness can feel strange when you have lived a long time in reaction mode. In reaction mode, you always know what to do. Defend, chase, fix, appease, numb, perform, overthink, return, repeat. Wholeness interrupts those reflexes. It asks you to pause, to breathe, to tell the truth, to not rescue what should remain outside, to not romanticize what once broke your focus. That pause is holy. Do not rush through it. A life can change because one person learned how to pause long enough not to answer the wrong thing. A future can change because one person learned how not to reopen a chapter simply because the silence felt uncomfortable. Destiny is often protected by small acts of disciplined refusal. My child, the enemy does not always tempt you with obviously evil things. Often he tempts you with what is emotionally familiar. He tempts you with what your flesh has practiced, with what your wounded self once used to feel significant, desired, busy, needed, validated, distracted, or temporarily soothed. That is why spiritual growth also requires emotional honesty. You must be honest about what you still crave when you are tired, what you still fantasize about when you feel overlooked, what you still reach toward when you are discouraged, what kind of messages your loneliness sends through your mind, what kind of bargains fear wants you to make. Only what is brought into the light can lose its secret leverage. I do not expose these things to humiliate you. I expose them to free you, because hidden compromises do not stay small. They become paths, and paths become habits, and habits become identities if they are not interrupted by truth in time. You are at a moment where truth must be stronger than nostalgia. Nostalgia will only show you the first scene. Truth will show you the whole cycle. Nostalgia will whisper, maybe it was not that bad. Truth will answer, you were losing peace in slow motion. Nostalgia will say, at least it was familiar. Truth will say, familiar is not the same as fruitful. Do not let loneliness vote on your future. Do not let impatience choose your company. Do not let fear reopen doors that wisdom already shut. Do not let a temporary ache become a permanent detour. You have come too far to keep returning to places that cannot bless the person you are becoming. And yes, sometimes the temptation to go back is strongest right after progress, because progress creates exposure. You are no longer numb. You are more awake. You are more aware of your own needs, your own hope, your own longing. That awareness can make you feel more vulnerable for a time. But vulnerability is not failure. It is the place where mature choices become possible. A mature choice is not always the one that feels easiest. It is the one that protects truth. It is the one that honors what healing has cost. It is the one that values long-term peace over short-term relief. It is the one that says, I remember what this did to me, and I will not volunteer for that confusion again. It is the one that trusts my leading more than your old cravings. Freedom becomes visible in choices like that, not always in dramatic moments, often in quiet moments, in the unsent message, in the ignored impulse, in the honest prayer, in the decision to stay present instead of running backward, in the willingness to endure a little discomfort so you do not re-enter a cycle that steals much more from you later. Do not underestimate those decisions. Heaven sees them. Your future benefits from them. Your peace is strengthened by them. Your identity becomes clearer through them. Every time you refuse to return, you teach your soul that freedom is not theoretical. It is livable. I know part of you is tired of resisting, tired of thinking about it, tired of feeling the pull, tired of having to be strong in the middle place. But hear me clearly. You are not carrying this alone. I am strengthening you while you stand. I am teaching your mind a new language. I am giving your spirit a new reflex. I am showing you that dependence on me can become more normal than dependence on old patterns. You do not need to become fearless before you obey. You only need to become willing. Willing to tell the truth when the lie sounds softer. Willing to pause when your emotions want speed. Willing to disappoint the old version of yourself in order to protect the new one I am forming. That new version of you matters. The one who is calmer. The one who is less impressed by chaos. The one who needs less validation from unstable places. The one who no longer mistakes intensity for intimacy. The one who no longer volunteers for confusion and calls it hope. The one who is learning that peace is precious and must be guarded. Guarding peace is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is maturity. It is stewardship. If I place peace in your life and you keep handing it to the first familiar thing that knocks, you will live in constant recovery. I want more for you than constant recovery. I want stability. I want clarity. I want a life that does not keep collapsing under the weight of avoidable returns. I want your yes to be clean and your no to be strong. I want your future to be less crowded by what you already outgrew. That means some things must remain behind you, not because they were never real, but because their season is over. Not because they never affected you, but because they are not assigned to your next chapter. Not because you are better than anyone else, but because you have been shown enough to know that going back would cost more than staying forward. My child, do not let guilt talk you into regression. You are not obligated to keep access open to what harmed you. You are not required to revisit every closed chapter. You are not unloving for having boundaries. You are not faithless for being careful. You are not prideful for protecting what I restored. The version of love I want for you does not erase discernment. The version of mercy I want for you does not cancel wisdom. The version of compassion I want for you does not require self-abandonment. You can be kind and still say no. You can forgive and still not return. You can pray for someone and still not re-enter what broke your peace. This applies to more than people. Some of you are tempted to return to mental patterns I already exposed. to self-talk that keeps you small, to habits that keep you numb, to rhythms that keep you exhausted, to ambitions that keep you chasing an image instead of a calling, to environments that awaken your insecurity more than your peace. Do not go back there either. Bondage is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is subtle. Sometimes it is simply anything that keeps training you away from truth and away from peace. That is why you must remain awake, because small returns become large detours when repeated long enough. You say, it is just one conversation, but sometimes one conversation reactivates the whole cycle. You say, it is just one look back, but sometimes one look back becomes emotional permission. You say, it is just temporary, but many traps survive because people keep calling them temporary while making room for them repeatedly. I am calling you into cleaner agreement. Agreement with what you already learned. Agreement with what your peace already knows. Agreement with the boundaries that protect your healing. Agreement with the new life I am building instead of the old pattern that still knows your name. When you feel tempted, come to me before you act. Let the feeling become prayer, not permission. Let the ache become honesty, not access. Let the discomfort become surrender, not a secret return. That is how freedom deepens, not by pretending temptation is absent, but by bringing temptation into the light quickly. There is strength available to you in that moment. Not vague strength, specific strength. Strength to wait 10 more minutes. Strength to not send the reply. Strength to not reopen the app, the memory, the habit, the fantasy, the cycle. Strength to breathe, to cry, to pray, to walk, to call the right person, to step away, to choose life again. Ask me for that strength. I will meet you there, my child. You are not weak because the old thing still knows how to call to your flesh. You are growing, and growth often means the battle becomes clearer before it becomes quieter. Do not interpret awareness as defeat. Interpret it as an invitation to become more intentional. Intentional people do not let every urge become a direction. They examine it. They test it. They ask what it is connected to. They ask whether it aligns with truth. They ask what fruit it produces. They ask whether it would move them toward peace or away from it. Those questions can save years. I am teaching you to live by fruit, not by impulse. What produces peace, clarity, honesty, steadiness, and alignment? Walk there. What produces confusion, compulsion, self-betrayal, fragmentation, and distance from truth? Stop calling that harmless. You already know more than you think you do. Remember what I brought you out of. Remember the nights it cost you sleep. Remember the inner division. Remember the heaviness after. Remember how small you felt. Remember how much energy went into managing what should never have had that much power over you. Remember how hard you prayed for release. Do not betray those prayers by reopening the chain. You asked for new life. New life requires new refusal. It requires letting some doors stay closed even when your emotions get loud. It requires honoring deliverance after the dramatic moment is over. It requires a deeper loyalty to truth than to temporary relief. That loyalty is being formed in you now. Let me pray for you. Father, strengthen this person wherever the old season still tries to call them back. Give them clarity stronger than nostalgia. Give them courage stronger than loneliness. Give them peace stronger than the false comfort of familiar bondage. Help them remember what you already revealed. Protect their healing. Guard their mind. Make their no clean, their boundaries firm, and their heart fully aligned with the freedom you are building. And when temptation rises, let truth rise higher. Amen. My child, do not go back to what I already brought you out of. You did not come this far to re-enter a cycle that I am teaching you to leave behind. If this message reached your heart, write in the comments, "I am staying free,"